Well, good evening. And I am your Spoonie, Sandy Shellis, tonight on Environmental Coffee House. And I decided to take this topic because of my own problems. A lot of you have physical chronic illnesses, and a lot of the reasons that we have these things are environmentally oriented, the toxins we live with. And well, a spoonie, it's a term for a person that lives with a chronic illness. But tonight, I am going to play a video from the gal that actually named it, Christine Miserandino herself. She did it. It's kind of long. It's actually kind of long, but the thing is it's decent, and she made it, oh gosh, I don't know, 14, 15 years ago. I remember it when I was first diagnosed with autoimmune. It was gosh, long time ago. And I thought, because I couldn't do the other show tonight. I was not ready to do the whole Epstein thing. And that is also actually is going to be a lot different than what other people are talking about with that. It's really going to be a bit of a history show, a history lesson. And hello, Bella, and hello, Kim. You know what? Is Kim here? Kim's here. I forgot to go over to put this on Discord. So, oh well. I didn't share it over there, but Looney, I don't see him here. He might not realize I'm on because I forgot to share it. Oh well. So, how is everybody tonight? So, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot to talk about with this. And we're living through the most polluted and deregulated and climate stressed era really in human history. And then we wonder, or we don't, why our bodies are falling apart, right? So being a spoonie, it's not about weakness or fragility, although you feel that way a lot. It's about carrying the weight of the world that was poisoned long time before we got here, and even long time before I got here, because all of it's decadal. It's decadal. It's you know. But I really want you all to join because I want you to watch this video. Like I said, it's long, but it'll give me a chance to also sit back and watch it again so I can refresh myself about the spoon theory. Really, which is like we have a limited number. We have a limited number of them, especially when we are disabled. And, as I did in the last show I did about chronic pain and mental health and our political situation, I think I'm on a theme here because of a lot of us don't feel good. A lot of us do have a lot of problems, and we're staring at in the United States anyway, we're staring at losing health care. We have a lot of issues. And because I cancel a lot of shows or I'm not reliable, I've decided, well, I'm going to share what's going on. I'm going to share how I feel. We'll talk about how you guys feel, but we're going to learn about spoonies and why she did this. It's really autoimmune illnesses for the most part. But then, of course, there's cancers people get, and a lot of this has an environmental, it has to, all the toxins. I mean, think about, I had a list I had written. All right. Yeah. The environmental toxins, the autoimmunes, climate change impacts, medical gaslighting, which I've gone through from doctors, and political negligence, daily life, living as a spoonie, toxic world. We're going to talk about the spoon theory, which we're going to watch her video, and we're going to talk about some survival strategies as a person with a chronic illness in this world. Maybe critique what's going on with politics. I already put show notes in, and I usually wait till after the show, but I had put them in before the show because I thought if anybody needed to see what we were talking about tonight, because most people probably don't know what a Spoonie is. So are we ready? It is a 13-minute video, but it's good. It's old. But this is the gal that came up with the theory. And I know that I was in a lot of Facebook groups and a lot of support things when I first got diagnosed, and I was sick and I was still working. And this is even above and beyond the stupid back surgeries and neck surgery. I mean, I guess I've had a bum body. I was treated for Hep C and have no idea how I got that. The doctors thought it was from the Rogam shot. I was RH negative. No, RH negative? Yeah, and my first husband was RH positive, so I had to have the Rogam shot back when I had it. They didn't test for Hep C. They didn't know what it was. They called it non-A, non-B. So it could have been from that, right? I don't know, and nobody figured it out. I wasn't a heroin user, so it wasn't that. I had tattoos, but the mother to child transmission it's very low. So that's where we came. So, I mean, I've been through the gamut with health issues pretty much my whole life. Started, I was 16, I had my tonsils out. I mean, really, and probably a lot of us have, but I've lived in a lot of different places, and we've all lived around lots of different toxic places. Everywhere. You can't get away from it. So if you've all joined and you're ready, I'm going to set up this video. I think it'll be helpful for us to watch this. I really do. And I want us to oh, that's me again. I want us to like this. I want us to learn something. And if you are fighting a chronic illness and you live with something, even if you're not, even if you live with back pain, it's good to understand those of us that do. And I think it's about time that I talk again about what's going on with me because of the fact that I do cancel shows, I do. And also, you never see me without I have to drink through the whole show. And I'm not a diabetic. I have none of those things yet. Knock on, there's no wood. So let's get ready and let's watch this. It's hi Karen and hi Otto. It's really good. Looney, I see you. And Kelly's here. We're going to do a show together soon too. It's a surprise what he's got going. Chaz, everybody that's here. It's just great to see you all. Sit back with me. We will watch this together. Because it's time that we brought the Spoonies back to life. I think a lot of us need it, but this is going to be with a new concept, and that's to talk about how the environment that we've lived in and the planet that we've befouled has probably created a lot of our autoimmunes. Okay, so I'm going to sit back and watch this with you. Don't leave. It's good. It's old, but she did this and I won't forget it.
That brings us to the spoon theory. This is very true. I did not make this up. Yes, I'm from New York, and all we do is eat at diners. This is a very true story. If you, can't tell, I am bold. I don't have any shame. Yes, I will run around the room and go crazy, and that's not unlike me. So this is a very true story. There we go. My best friend and I were in the diner talking. As usual, it was very late, and we were eating French fries with gravy. Do you guys do that here? You need to try it.
Fries and gravy. Oh, it's a New York
brown
thing.
Gravy. French fries.
Yeah.
Delish. We'll go back to the story. Sorry, that was so. You need to do that. We'll all go out after the conference. Where's your local diner? Okay, let's start all over. My best friend and I were in the diner talking. As usual, it was very late, and we were eating French fries with gravy. Like normal girls our age, we spent a lot of time in the diner while in college, and most of the time we spent talking about boys, music, or trivial things. That seemed very important at the time. We never got serious about anything in particular, and we spent most of our time laughing. As I went to take some of my medication with a snack, as I usually did, she watched me with an awkward kind of stare, instead of continuing the conversation. She then asked me out of the blue what it felt like to have lupus and to be sick. I was shocked, because not only because she asked me the random question, but also because I assumed she knew all there was to know about lupus. She came to doctors with me, she saw me walk with a cane, she even saw me throw up in the bathroom. She had seen me cry in pain. What else was there to know? I started to ramble on about pills and aches and pains, but she kept pursuing and didn't seem satisfied with any of my answers. I was a little surprised, as being my roommate in college and friend for years, I thought she already knew the medical definition of lupus. Then she looked at me with a face every sick person knows well, the face of pure curiosity about something no one healthy can truly understand. She asked me what it felt like, not physically, but what it felt like to be me, to be sick. As I tried to gain my composure, I glanced around the table for help or for guidance, or at least to stall for time to think. I was trying to find the right words. How do I answer a question I was never able to really answer myself? How do I explain every detail of every day being affected and give the emotions a sick person goes through with clarity? I could have given up. I could have cracked a joke, like I usually do, and changed the subject. But I remember thinking, if I don't try to explain this, how could I ever expect her to understand? If I can't explain this to my best friend, how could I ever explain my world to anyone else? I at least had to try. At that moment, the spoon theory was born. I quickly grabbed every spoon on the table. Hell, I grabbed spoons off other tables. I looked at her in the eyes and said, "Here you go. You have lupus." She looked at me slightly confused, as anyone would when they are being handed a bouquet of spoons. The cold metal spoons clanked in my hands as I grouped them together and shoved them into her hands. I explained that the difference in being sick and being healthy is having to make choices or to consciously think about things when the rest of the world doesn't have to. The healthy have a luxury of a life without choices, a gift most people take for granted. Most people start the day with an unlimited amount of possibilities and energy to do whatever they desire, especially young people. For the most part, they do not need to worry about the effects of their actions, so for my explanation, I use spoons to convey this point. I wanted something for her to actually hold, for me to then take them away, since most people who get sick feel a loss of a life they once knew. If I was in control of taking the spoons, then she would know what it feels like to have someone or something else, in this case lupus, being in control.
How many of us feel that way and understand exactly what she said about having some parts of our life taken away because of an illness that we had no control over?
She grabbed the spoons with excitement. She didn't understand what I was going through, but she thought it was a joke, and she's always up for a good time. So she said, "What was I talking about?" She knew that I usually joke when I'm talking about touchy topics. Little did she know how serious I would become. I asked her to count her spoons. She asked why. I explained that when you are healthy, you expect to have a never-ending supply of spoons. But when you have to now plan your day, you need to know exactly how many spoons you are starting with. It doesn't guarantee that you might not lose some along the way, but at least it helps you to know where you're starting. She counted out 12 spoons. Yes, I did 12. It's a story. She laughed and said she wanted more. I said no, and I knew right away that this little game would work. When she looked disappointed, and we hadn't even started yet, I've wanted more spoons for years and haven't found a way to get more. Why should she? I also told her to always be conscious of how many she had and not to drop them, because she can never forget she has lupus. I asked her to list off the tasks of her day, including the most simple. As she rattled off daily chores or just fun things to do, I explained how each one would cost her a spoon. When she jumped right into getting ready for work as her first task of the morning, I cut her off and said, "I'm taking away a spoon. You don't jump out of your bed." I said, "You don't just get up. You have to crack open your eyes and then realize you're late. You didn't sleep well the night before. You have to crawl out of bed. And then you have to make yourself something to eat before you can do anything else. Because if you don't, you can't take your medicine. And if you don't take your medicine, you might as well give up on all your spoons for today and tomorrow too." I quickly took away a spoon, and she realized that she hadn't even gotten dressed yet. Showering cost her a spoon just for washing her hair and shaving her legs. Reaching high and low that early in the morning could actually cost more than one spoon, but I figured I'd give her a break. I didn't want to scare her right away. Getting dressed was worth another spoon. I stopped her again and broke down every task to show her how every detail needs to be thought about. You cannot simply just throw clothes on when you are sick. I explained that I have to see what clothes I can physically put on. If my hand hurts that day, buttons are out of the question. If I have bruises that day, I need to wear long sleeves. And if I have a fever, I need a sweater to stay warm, and so on. If my hair is falling out, I need to spend more time to look presentable. And then you need to factor in another 5 minutes for feeling badly that it took you 2 hours to do all this. I think she started to understand when she theoretically didn't even get to work and she was left with 6 spoons. I then explained to her that she needed to choose the rest of her day wisely, since when your spoons are gone, they're gone. Sometimes you can borrow against tomorrow's spoons, but just think how hard tomorrow will be with less spoons. I also needed to explain that a person who is sick always lives with the looming thought that tomorrow might be the day that a cold comes, or an infection, or a number of things that could be very dangerous. You do not want to run low on spoons because you never know when you truly will need them. I didn't want to depress her, but I needed to be realistic. And unfortunately, being prepared for the worst is part of a real day for me. We went through the rest of the day, and she slowly learned that skipping lunch would cost her a spoon, as well as standing on a train or even typing at her computer too long. She was forced to make choices and think about things differently. Hypothetically, she had to choose not to run errands so that she could eat dinner that night. When we got to the end of her pretend day, she said that she was hungry. I summarized that she had to eat dinner, but she only had 1 spoon left. If she cooked, she wouldn't have enough energy to clean pots. If she went out to dinner, she might be too tired to drive home safely. Then I explained that I didn't even bother to add into this game, that she was so nauseous that cooking was probably out of the question anyway. So she decided to make soup. It was easy. I then said it was only 7 p.m. You have the rest of the night, but maybe end up with 1 spoon. So you can do something fun, or clean your apartment, or do the chores, but you just can't do it all. I rarely see her emotional, so when I saw her upset, I knew maybe I was getting through to her. I didn't want my friend to be upset, but at the same time, I was happy to think, finally, maybe someone understood me a little bit. She had tears in her eyes and asked quietly, "Christine, how do you do it? Do you really do this every day?" I explained that some days were worse than others, and some days I have more spoons than most. But I can never make it go away, and I can't forget about it. I always have to think about it. I handed her a spoon I had been holding in reserve. I said simply, "I've learned to live life with an extra spoon in my pocket, in reserve. You always need to be prepared." It's hard. The hardest thing I've ever had to learn is to slow down and not do everything. I fight this to this day. I hate feeling left out, having to choose to stay home or not get things done that I want to do. I wanted her to feel that frustration. I wanted her to understand that everything everyone else does comes so easy, but for me, it is 100 little jobs in one. I need to think about the weather, my temperature that day, and the whole day's plans before I can attack any one given thing. When other people can simply do things, I have to attack it and make a plan like I'm strategizing a war. It is in that lifestyle, the difference between being sick and healthy. I miss never having to count spoons. I miss that freedom. It's the beautiful ability to not think and just do. After we were emotional and talked about this for a little while longer, I sensed she was sad. Maybe she finally understood. Maybe she realized that she could never truly and honestly say she understands. But at least now, she might not complain so much when I can't go out for dinner some nights, or when I never seem to make it to her house, and she always has to drive to mine. I gave her a hug when we walked out of the diner. I had one spoon in my hand. I said, "Don't worry. I see this as a blessing. I have been forced to think about everything I do. Do you know how many spoons people waste every day? I don't have room for wasted time or wasted spoons, and I choose to spend this time with you." Ever since this night, I have used the spoon theory to explain my life to many people. In fact, my family and friends refer to spoons all the time. It has been a code word for what I can and cannot do. Once people understand the spoon theory, they seem to understand me a little bit better. But I also think they live their lives a little differently too. It isn't just good for understanding lupus, but anyone dealing with any disability or illness. Hopefully they don't take so much for granted, or their life in general. I give a piece of myself in every sense of the word when I do anything. It has become an inside joke. I've become famous for saying to people jokingly that they should feel special when I spend time with them because they have one of my spoons. I want to just thank all of you for letting me spend my spoons with you. They're worth everything, every spoon, the flight, the everything was so worth it, and for welcoming me into your family.
Okay, sorry. See, I'm slow. Now, wasn't that worth watching? I think you got, even though it's like an old vid from, I don't remember when she made it, 10, 11, whatever. It was a lot better to have you see Christine talk about it because it was her theory. I mean, it was hers. I have it written here. I have it. It's the spoons. They're the metaphor for a limited amount of daily energy, and everything she said in that, she has lupus, and I checked in on her today, and she was sick. I mean, she hasn't gotten better. None of us have, but it was definitely a better way to watch her, I think. So I want to talk a little bit about it's now. And this is what they don't talk about. They didn't talk about back then. And when I got diagnosed, it wasn't talked about. But we are being, it's not new being chronically ill, but in a collapsing toxic world, it's a different game. It's a personal struggle, but it's political, it's environmental, and it's survival. I mean, really, it really is. For all of us, everybody in this chat has something. If you're not disabled or have a chronic illness, you know somebody that does. And that's the tough part, because you can't escape it in this society. You really can't. We're living there. It's polluted, deregulated, climate stressed. I mean, it's pretty bad. But here I am to talk about it, to bring the Spoonie theory up into 2025 and understand ourselves a little bit better. Absolutely. So, we're not, I don't know, we're not running out of spoons because our bodies failed, really. It's kind of like the world is getting harder to survive in, which is why we have we have the Climate Crisis Club, we have my channel, we have the chat. If it wasn't for you guys, I probably would have given this up. Even after I got my channel back, I might have just said, forget it. Because really, half the time, I don't have any spoons left. And I wake up, and I sometimes wake up like today. Everything hurts so bad, I couldn't stand it. And I don't understand it. I mean, it seems to be getting worse. Of course, I'm getting older. But it's getting worse. And we grow old together. And those of you that didn't have a chronic illness or you're blessed in spiritual cosmic way. But, those of us that do, and I want to bring you into my world because I want to share it with you. And those of you who suffer or feel the way I do, we're in this together. Just like the whole crisis, just like everything that we live through today, 2025. I mean, it's all of it. The air, the water, the chemicals, the heat, it takes away the energy besides your chronic illness. But we feel it first. People that are spoonies, we feel it first. It's like the canary in the coal mine. And I think about people in countries like India and Pakistan where the heat is just unbearable. Or in Iran where there's no water in Tehran. I think about those people, the people that suffer with chronic illnesses and how much worse it is because of the crisis we're living through and what we've done with environmental toxins, which a lot of them are like, the invisible enemy. Like the invisible enemy. So what do we have? And this is what Christina would never have talked about back in 2010. Did any of us hear of PFAS then? I mean, we all know that Exxon knew. We all knew that Exxon knew that the climate crisis was bad. But even 10 years ago, people still buy that natural gas is the clean energy. It's clean. It's the best way to go. It's the bridging fuel to the future and all that happy horseshit. PFAS, forever. Everything in the drinking water. And it could be in my well water. Why wouldn't it be? Microplastics are in our blood, our brains, our organs. Endocrine disruptors. That's why the frogs. That's when Alex Jones talks about the frogs. Well, seriously, he wasn't that far off. But they're in cosmetics, packaging, everything. Furniture, carpet. I worked with a gal. They were putting new carpet in their offices. She couldn't even be there. Back then, there was no working from home, but she had to work from home because she had a terrible reaction to whatever that the flame retardant was in the carpet. But we didn't think about all these things on a daily basis. I think about a lot of it now because of I am getting sicker, but I also live with 7 cats and a wood stove. I mean, it's not like I have this wonderfully clean life. I barely use fossils here and I'm electric. So, you trade off, you make your choices. But it's just, and then think about too, we didn't think about the pesticides. And who knows what's in the food that could have a link to any of these things. But we know that air pollution too, it's been proven, and there's studies. I mean, I didn't link to this, and I just decided to do this show yesterday. So I pulled together shit really fast. But I see a lot of times I have ideas in the tank. So I already have things that I'm thinking of, and I keep files and notes as shitty as I feel. And I get it done. But a lot of it, and a lot more people are getting immune dysfunctions. It's very sad. But they are skyrocketing. And even my rheumatologist tells me they're skyrocketing. But, the conversation is whenever you talk about it, the first things is, okay, you're sick because of stress. And you're sick because of, your diet is totally shitty, which is a big thing. And I see Otto in the chat is talking about his health, and I'm very much with him because that's how I lost weight and did well in life when I didn't eat sugar or carbs. I mean, but I don't like a lot of meat either. I don't eat red meat. So I have a weird way of eating. And, but we all have to find that way. But sugar and carbs, bad carbs. I'm not talking about, some carbs are fine. I'm talking about the sugar and all the garbage in the food is what makes us sick. I know there's a direct relationship for me. If I go out, I know where every ice cream place is in the summer on the way home from my doctor's appointment in Buffalo. Like other people, they know where all the bars are. I know where all the goddamn ice cream places are, but I'll never bring ice cream in the house. Forget it. But so anyway, and here we are with climate change, which I say the climate crisis, the fires from Canada. I mean, when all that happened, it's like a flare factory. You know what a flare is? Flare-ups are when things exacerbate from your autoimmune specifically, or fibromyalgia, which people used to think was all made up and bullshit. But it makes you flare. And I flare. I have, and that's why I would cancel shows and always make a little video or write a note. I've canceled a show because I can't do a live show because I can't sit here. I literally can't sit more than 2 hours as it is. Okay, here sitting in this office, can't do it more than 2 hours. I don't travel really anymore. And this is not from being older. I mean, I pushed myself, probably from abusing the living shit out of myself. That's not environmental. That was life choices. I rode that motorcycle and I went hiking and I worked out and I, did a lot of things that probably messed me up. But it's a combination. You can't just blame the one thing. But there is a climate crisis. And heat waves, they really drain people's energy. They like a vacuum, suck your energy out. And then how about when we had, the Canadian wildfires in Greece? The Greeks have to deal with the fires. I mean, smoke, it's like you breathe in smoke and it's like gasoline on a fire. So the extreme weather we're living through really exacerbates all this shit. It really does. And the seasons, your body has your circadian rhythms. Your body goes through hormonal changes. Everything has a consequence now. So for spoonies like me and anybody out there in the chat that understands what I'm talking about, or on X, because we're live over there. And there's a bunch of you, and I'm going to say hi to anybody that's watching on X. You are so welcome in our community. But, climate change, it's not theoretical. I mean, people like me understand it's physical and it's immediate, and in lungs and joints, nervous systems. And sometimes, for a normal person, or not normal, a person that's not a spoonie, healthy person, they can deal with heat better than some people. I don't like extreme heat at all. I love living where I live. I like going outside, bundling up and walking outside my property. I was outside today. I go outside every single day. But, for some people, hot, really heat, that could just make you miserably shut down. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration. A lot of times, I don't know who went through this, but people would not understand why I couldn't do something, including the person I was married to. So that's a tough one. So, all right. Anyway. And I always say I'm not a victim. When I talk about stuff like this, it's because I want to bring you who do suffer into it with us. We're together doing this. And then those of you that don't understand, like I said earlier, how you may have a relative, a wife, a child, a friend that suffers and you don't understand it all. Because a lot of people don't understand when I say, I don't want to go anywhere. This last 2 weeks, I never left my property or drove my gas sucker truck once. Not once. Never left. So, I and just like she said, you plan your entire day. I plan my day around how I feel, my energy, if I can even do it. And I've got 7 cats. So but see, I do a lot of things on purpose because if I have these chores and things to do, I'm not just sitting around. I have to force myself. And that's okay. Not all the time, but I force myself. And then you have to look at everything. Avoiding products is a big thing, and I know that's a big thing for a lot of you out there. We look at the packages, we look at everything we consume. I can't go to the grocery store anymore. It's like it takes too long because I'm reading, so I don't even go in those aisles. I go with the specifics I need to get, and that's it, and I get the hell out of there. And when you're like me, and I mean, I want to have regular nights to do these shows, but if I have a flare of my back, if I do something, I can't. And I want everybody to understand that. No, I am not reliable. I'm not a reliable person for anything. I tell people that all the time, and it's really sad, but I'm really not reliable. That's why I retired medically when I did, which I never would have, right? But another thing is the medical system today. Navigating all this bullshit with all the specialists, the rheumatologists. I'm very lucky because I found a good one, but you have to navigate the insurance. And since I started in the HR field, the insurance industry it grew into this conglomerate of offshoots and outsourcing. I mean, it used to be we were the HR department. We gave you your benefits. We gave you a choice of 6 or 7, whatever it was, insurance companies, because we were all over New York State. You'd pick that. You'd work directly with the insurance company. That's it. We would help you in the HR department, benefits. And I saw it change. It started to change where we outsourced. So first it was the insurance companies. They were outsourcing the call centers. They were outsourcing everything. And in my 20 plus years as an HR professional, I watched the outsourcing of just about everything. And when people talk about single payer, Medicare for all, and then there's the contingency that says, okay, there's 200,000 jobs, whatever. There's a lot of jobs in the industry that would have to change or be absorbed. They did not exist 20 years ago. And of course, as the population grows, and capitalism on steroids, grow, unlimited growth. That's really what I witnessed it with this medical. So it makes it so much more difficult for the average person to just get what they need. You really have to, a lot of people need help. Well, that exists. I mean, we were one of those benefits departments that we really sat down and helped our people. But everything was outsourced. So that makes people sick and it makes us tired. And it's not easy. And you're talking to, now you're talking to AI. You're not even talking to a person in India anymore, or in Costa Rica, or wherever the call centers. That was the whole thing of the 2000s, the call centers. Now they don't have jobs anymore because the call centers are data centers and they're AI. So when you're calling, you don't even know if you're talking to a person. And if you're asking them a question, you're talking to AI. It's been trained by what those people did. Now they're shit out of luck because they don't have jobs anymore. So basically, as a Spoonie, and I was sick at my job too, I was so lucky for the Americans with Disabilities Act and family and medical leave and all of those things I did take advantage of. We had great things in the United States. I don't know if it's all gone, but we did. And I watched it happen because I fought for these things for people through organizations I belonged to, so that there was family and medical leave. That was during Clinton, I believe, but we had it, but it was just really getting started, and all of these things to help people, because that's what it's about, at least for me anyway, and animals. But So I guess I wanted to talk a little bit more because about the medical thing, because I don't know how you guys feel or if you've experienced this, and it's not a negative, and I'm putting doctors down necessarily. It's a system. And you hear a lot, especially when I remember in the beginning, nobody could figure out what the heck was wrong with me. And, your labs are normal. It's anxiety. You're stressed out. What do you mean? Change this. Have you tried yoga? All of this stuff. And you feel like you have some kind of character flaw, like you're crazy. Now, I don't think it's quite that way now because all the understanding of autoimmunes and all the research and the science that's been done since then, since Christine made her video. That was another reason why I wanted to show you her video, because since her time, there has been more research. There's been a lot more. I've got a very close friend with MS who is doing very well because of that research and because there's some, new medications from when she first was diagnosed. I mean, autoimmunes, my bio dad had MS. They can have familial links also, and sometimes there'll be something that sets it off. Same thing with schizophrenia, which I can use as an example. A person can have schizophrenia and it can never come out if the outside situation doesn't trigger it. It happens like that. Well, so can an autoimmune, so can an illness. But once you're triggered by something, and that's, now it's even worse than ever, the environmental toxins, people don't have a chance. And I really hope young people get what they need in this society. My own daughter has issues. It's crazy. So we know now the science is clear. Toxins and climate stress, they have real biological and measurable effects on immune function and your immune system. So the problem is we're not doing it fast enough. We're not addressing pollution. We're certainly not doing anything we're deregulating all of the laws in the EPA in the United States. There's countries that still have terrible pollution because we also exported our recyclables, like material. I think, years ago, I did a video showing the recycled material in huge heaps in India. I think it was India. I don't think it was Pakistan at the time. But, the United States, the Western countries have very well done a lot of outsourcing of their shit, of our shit. But, it was always like the patient, it's you. It's you. We were the problem. Spoonies were the problem. Not like everything that's around us. Did any of you ask for anything that have an illness, a chronic illness? It's not like we asked for it. I didn't go out there and say, well, I'm fatigued today. Oh, I want to be this way. But it's political. And these politicians, they weaken the regulations. So sick people are going to get sicker. Climate action's delayed. I'd say, okay, let's look at it through the Spoonie's eye. Spoonies lose energy. We lose energy. Every time healthcare, and this is happening now, sabotage, right? Which is happening. We're going to see what's going to happen with all of the people that are going to lose Medicaid in the United States with a chronic illness like I have that may not have, or the people whose copays are going to go up exponentially, ridiculously, that may not have now access to the health care that they need because it's a double whammy. Not to depress you, just try to tell you, put it all in one place. There's, it's all one bucket. All the different buckets now have been dumped into the one in the middle. And, well, we want to live quality lives. And think about the corporations, and they're doing it again, big time, to the EPA. They're lobbying against chemical restrictions. So then people that live near some place that's going to have loosened restrictions, everything, like data centers now are coming in, and the chemical factories are going to have loosened restrictions. So, they'll be dumping. So, Spoonie's living proof that the system is failing environmentally, medically, and politically. And our bodies show the damage first. And so we really need to hold the people responsible, like the corporations, like the politicians, like the polluters. How do we do it? Look we can't even at COP 30 in Brazil, they couldn't even get a resolution that was signed that said that anything about fossil fuels. It's insane. I'm trying to star some of your comments so for when we do the comment section. So if I look over here, it's only because I'm putting a star by your comment. So what do? I'll tell you what my survival kit is now. And I have 2 of those air purifiers. I have one in the living room near the wood stove, and I have one in my bedroom because I live the way I live. And yes, it uses electricity. Thank you. But we learned a lot during COVID, which is still going on. I mean, my doctor told me the last time I visited her, I think my primary 6 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago even, she said, oh, there's a lot of COVID around. That I only got that once, but I don't want to get that again. I don't. It's not like I have the luxury to be sick any sicker than I already have been. This has been a bad year for me. But I don't want to sit here and just whine about me. I mean, you all went through it with me. I had one surgery in April. I got sick, and then I had another surgery in August, and I'm going to tell you about that one too. Because other people might be experiencing this more than I thought. Anyway, air purifiers. And then everybody's got to have air conditioning these days. Even I never would have really thought I would have to have air conditioning here, and I don't use it a lot because I really like everything open. And I live in a rural country area, so it gets hot, but in my place, I could go downstairs, I could go outside. Try not to run air conditioning too much. But then the masks, and it's not just pandemic masks. I wore the mask through smoke, wildfire smoke. You got to be so careful. You remember, we've talked about this on the channel before when we would watch videos with people in Beijing. They're wearing masks because of the pollution. And then we got to look. You really got to look. Everything. Even everything in my kitchen, I have, okay, there's plastic. There is. But I've replaced most of everything I cook with cast iron and glass or ceramic. No plastic. I don't buy any plastic wrap, although I reuse things that products come in subplastic. You can't get away from it. I'm older. And so because I'm older, I'm already fucked. I mean, all the plastic in the world probably isn't going to make me, it's already done, right? But younger people can really learn and they can lobby. It's so sad that they have to. Everything comes in. You call in if you want. I don't even ever call this place, but there's one place that delivers around here. But if they ever deliver food, and it's usually shitty, it's the black plastic containers. It turns my stomach because those you can't recycle, and who knows where the recycling goes. So, but we do it, and we have to teach the younger generations. I don't have any grandchildren. I have my daughter's in her 30s. She already knows all this shit. But the younger people have to be taught to adapt and acclimate and maybe understand the products that are out there, that they're being assaulted by a lie, really. I mean, there's a lot of good companies that are trying to make great products and that are made out of recycled cardboard and composite and hemp. Hemp should be doing way more than it is. We can get out of this. It's all just greed, though. That's the problem. This toxifying ourselves because of the greed of these corporations and the cheapness of plastic. And medical plastic, you can't get around. Medical is just an insane. I've talked about this too. Probably everything I've talked about on this channel over how many? Almost 9 years, right? But I think it's up to us older people to pass on the wisdom and all that to the younger people. And it is happening online. There are a lot of good online things, but it has to happen in your community. And if the stupid pizza place is the only place that delivers because I live 100 million miles from anything, if all they're using is black plastic, well, maybe somebody could go in and talk to them and say, well, we wouldn't mind paying 25 cents more for whatever you buy if you used the recycled cardboard crap. You never know. You don't talk to them. Businesses, it's always the bottom line, of course. But maybe you never know if you told somebody in a business that I'm going into your business, I'm telling you, you're going to get more business if you sell yourself as environmentally friendly. Even here in this red area, people give a shit because they want to keep the Western New York wilds clean, right? Who wants everything shitted up? The problem is with the billionaires, they don't see all the shit because they're so far above it. They just see AstroTurf golf courses and these insane places that are always clean because they hire everybody and they don't see any of it. It's a big problem. All right, so then what we got to do? We got to rest. And that's a big thing. And I can't stand resting. What's really hard for me, I am a jumping bean. I cannot sit down. It's really hard to sit for more than 5 or 10 minutes. I don't know if it's a function of pain, getting up, whatever, but there's always something to do. So I've got to force myself sometimes to just say, hey, you really got to chill. It's like a medical intervention. It's not a luxury just to lay around. And then pacing, like she said, like Christine said in the beginning. And you know you're not going to be perfect. You can't be perfect at anything. Like I know because I choose the way I live, my house is never going to be perfectly clean. And whenever I go into somebody's house that's like immaculate, I think to myself, my God, either they're nuts or they can afford to have somebody clean. You know, there's a lot. I can't imagine living in in a house where you have to well, my house is certainly you don't have to take your shoes off. It's floors, but do I ask my cats to take their shoes off? You know, I can't tell them, please don't throw up over there. I could try to mitigate it. Like with the animals, I try to mitigate their problems by feeding them really good food. And, really good food. Wait, there's a comment I want to put a star on. Okay. Really good food and stuff that'll keep them healthy so I don't have to take them to the vet. So they won't puke so much. So it costs me more and I'm always broke. And that's another reason I don't leave the house. Okay. I got to make something funny. Because, when you talk about these heavy subjects, if you don't make it a little humorous, what would we have? We'd all be crying all the time. And I don't even cry anymore that much. I don't know where the tears went. I guess maybe I'm post tears. When my friends die or an animal dies, then you'll cry for 6 months. But all right. So I like the word lifeboat. Carolyn Baker uses that word and I thought about her today and I jotted it down. It's like we have to have a lifeboat while the world is flooding, and we literally see it flooding, but we have to have our own lifeboat. We have to make it for ourselves. Nobody's really going to do it for us. You come into this world alone and you're fucking leaving it alone. But if you've got people around you, you're blessed, Cultivate those good relationships. I know we all can't stand everything's cut down political lines. I made a video about it because I see that it's very hard to sit with toxic people in the holidays. It's a holiday time, and a lot of people are. And it's really sad that it's become this way because it didn't used to be. And I think that, unfortunately, there are toxic people because of what they believe and what they think that you just don't want to be around them at the holidays. I think it's sad. That can make Spoonie sick. It can make us with a chronic illness flare up from the stress of listening to somebody hateful or racist or ugly or terrible. I mean, it's really sad. So being us with chronic illnesses or a Spoonie in a toxic world, it's not a weakness. We're not weak. We are resilient. We adapt, which I feel I have. I know people that are right there in that chat that are saying, I know, I do this, I have to. Adapting. just like we have to adapt to all the things that are happening and the countries have to adapt. Surviving conditions that really no human body, we really shouldn't have to have. I should not live in, I'm in pain 24/7. I try. Like I said, the last show when I did about chronic pain and mental health and politics, because I'm onto something here. We have to do it. But we're not fragile. And we're not dramatic. Although, of course, I'm doing a show here. So, of course, I'm dramatic because I'm talking to you. I'm looking at you. I'm visualizing everybody in their homes, looking at their phone or their TV or wherever they are, hoping you're all comfortable and that you all have, safety and health and wellness. Because you're all not just chat going by. You're all real people. I know that from this channel, what we've cultivated here, Nicholas and Antonio and me and Jim and Jennifer had, real people. Very, very few interlopers, trolls, or horrible people. And that's a good thing because we don't want it. We don't deserve it. And Carrie, you're on your tablet. So again, and we're not imagining it either. None of us are imagining any of this. I am not imagining this pain I'm in. I'm trying to figure out all the time what to do, how to mitigate, how to adapt, how to, do things. But right now, you think about it, and these young people they're born into this, and it's like they're living proof that the world is going to change faster than their bodies can keep up. And the whole pandemic thing, I'm not talking about the pandemic in a way of, politically at all, but it was a very big stressor for a lot of Spoonies. But it was a stressor for everyone. And it became a clusterfuck as well. So but we can't ignore, we cannot ignore what we are living through. We have to face it head on, just like, we're doing, those of us that are somewhat activists in a way. Of course, I'm not the out there activist I used to be. I'm not running to DC. I'm not doing any of that anymore. But if you can, and you could try to do it with burning as little fossil fuels as possible. If you can do things, do them. I'm trying to do some stuff, and not disappoint people. I gave up what I couldn't do. I used to be on all kinds of committees here in the environmental, our local environmental group. Kim in the chat, moderator, remembers when I was with the environmental group. I was their treasurer for 2 years here, and we did things here, kept toxic sludge from coming from Pennsylvania and being dumped on the roads, because the sludge had to be tested for radioactivity. There were things you can do. And so, I don't know, even as messed up, I tried so hard to always live a full life. And now I think, the cup may be a little bit half empty right now. And we don't have unlimited spoons. None of us. But I feel everybody here, because you're with me, you have clarity, we have truth, and we have each other. And in this kind of toxic world, I think that's very powerful. I do. And I think that's why we do these things. That's why we group together. But I wanted to show you one of the things, and I don't know, I'll just show you this one graphic. My thing is called Sjogren's, and it affects everything. Now, I'm not going to go into it totally in depth, but, I've told you for years I've had swollen glands here, and I'm always concerned about them. That's been like that for years. And now that I'm getting old, I now have swollen glands. And I'm losing the elasticity in my skin, because this is what happens when you get older. except on television or at Mar-a-Lago. You won't see anything in Mar-a-Lago. And even, I'm sorry, I have to say this, even a lot of the lefty podcasters, my God, I've seen a couple of the women that they have there's no, their faces don't move and you could fry an egg off their forehead. One of these days we'll get over all that because I fell victim to the looking good culture and competition, or not competition, just looking good, right? And I will tell you another thing that is I'm going to tell you right now. Here it is, honest, because I found out more people had this than I thought. I had breast implants. Oh my God. Okay. But I got them out in August finally because I figured out and I got it covered by Medicare from being disabled because it was medically necessary. Unfrickin' real. So they are, even if it's saline in them, the shell is made out of silicone. And when I went to have this done, I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I thought I could never afford it. And I thought, I did all the research, and I had that done back when I was working out all the time. And, it was just, I didn't think about it. Oh, I think about it now. But, so I had them out. Then it was... Yeah, that was in August. The woman I met, this is the wild part. The woman I met that did intake, she saw why I was coming, and they did it right here in the rural hospital. But she saw that I was coming, and she sat down with me. She said, I wanted to take your case. I said, why? She goes, because I had the same thing you did. I said, you're kidding. She goes, nope. She went to Cleveland Clinic. And she said she had a very nasty autoimmune. I forgot which one she had. It wasn't Sjogren's like mine. And she went and she said, you're going to feel better. She was 4 months out. I'm August, no, 3 months out. And I feel different. And I'll tell you what the difference is. But it was foreign, something in my body that I made the choice to do. Okay. Hey, I felt pretty good. I thought I looked great, whatever. It probably did something to my health, obviously. But I was diagnosed with the autoimmune before that. So I've had this longer than that. But I'm sharing this with you because she told me that she did that, and she was starting to feel better. So it takes a good 6 months once you get the toxin away to know if you're going to feel better. So these are things that I'm saying, okay, maybe there's a little shot because she was already feeling better. Then the kid that helps me here, believe it or not, the kid that helps me here told me his girlfriend has implants. And I said, well, she's got to be very careful. And I explained about it, and he went back and told her about it. And I think she's considering getting rid of them because we're sold a bill of goods. That's a whole other show. That's not an environmental show at all. We are sold a whole other bill of goods in this country about looking good. The plastic surgeon industry is insane. I used to watch this show that the two guys botched. They would fix all the bad plastic surgery. Holy shit. They were in California. And now we just make fun, right? We make fun of Mar-a-Lago and all that because it looks like this. But seriously, no, at this age now, I look back and I think I really didn't need to do that. And, but I'm, to be quite honest though, would I go for a little something here or a little something here? Maybe because I'm vain and I'm on this, right? And again, like Spoonies, people don't like old ladies. I don't know. That's not true. There's some really wonderful, wonderful women I've come across on social media these days, which I like. I really do. And I like that people are starting to say, hey, I'm just natural, because I think doing the other makes you sick. And I don't know what's going to happen to that Mar-a-Lago look or all those women. we've seen some of them, they've got to have gotten sick from some of this stuff, from the toxins in the lips and all that. I can't even imagine it. But I really thought, I'm going to share with you shit. I have nothing to lose anymore. Who cares? I wanted to tell you the truth. That's why I had the surgery in August. But I hemorrhaged. I had to go back to the hospital, have emergency surgery. I lost a ton of blood. Oh, it was a mess. Susan Fortier in the chat, if she's still here, she was here with me. But it was a big thing. And we don't know why that happened, not really. But it's over. And so now I'm just waiting to say, hey, I have something to look forward to possibly. And I have to say, I haven't gotten any serious flares. I just feel overall shitty pain. Pain is different than a flare. I don't know if any of you understand the difference between when you get a flare of your autoimmune, you feel like you have absolutely no energy. You feel the pain is always with me. I get pain, but you feel fatigued, like you can't get off the floor, like you have no spoons. I mean, it really does happen. It's real. It's fucking real. And it stinks. It really does stink. And, but you do the best you can, like I said. But since that, though, I have to say, I haven't had any humongous, I have to stay in bed for 3 consecutive days. Last year, that happened a few times. So this is promising, even though there's other things that aren't, but there you go. So Sjogren's disease is a weird one, but it does affect a lot of things. And the dry mouth, it affects your, let me see if I have a couple of notes, and I'm not going to keep you all night because there's a lot of different ones, but it's a chronic autoimmune disorder. And as immune disorders do, oh, hi, Lincoln Newsreel. Mwah! When the immune system with these autoimmunes, I never even said what it was in the beginning. They attack your body. So in Sjogren's, they attack my moisture producing cells, which is why I have the swollen glands all the time. And but it's more than that. It's systemic. I have what's called primary. There's a primary and a secondary, and a lot of the symptoms that I have are like rheumatoid arthritis, joint. That's what's happening. I crossed the Rubicon last year. I wasn't like this last year. I didn't have the joint pain and the inflammation and some of the neuropathy, but it affects everything. I mean, Sjogren's can really get messed up. I, for a long time, thought it wasn't anything. I had flares, but I didn't live my life around around that all the time. Like, I know in the Spoonie culture, yeah. But we do suffer, but I'm just hoping, and I hope that once this happens for me and I start feeling better, that I can also tell others, and maybe just don't do it. One of these days we're going to learn we are around. I mean, when I did that, I didn't think about all the environmental toxins. I didn't think about anything but I'll feel better because I worked myself out to look like a board off a tree. That's how I felt, because we're made to feel that way. I mean, everything you see out there, we are surrounded by all of it. The marketing, the pollution, they pollute our brains, they pollute us, the spending, the consumerism, the capitalism, and none of us can say we've never fallen prey to any of it. We can't. Yeah. Let me see where. All right, let's get some of your comments. Okay, and then I think we're pretty well good. I hope you got something out of this show. I really don't feel bad about sharing that personal detail if it can help somebody else or stop somebody from even doing it, because having foreign bodies in your, toxins, and it's silicone. It's living with plastic in your fucking body. I didn't think about it. And it's very easy to push those things away. Especially when they tell you, oh, it's perfectly safe. Your choice is safe. Okay, so what do I have here? Uh, Astrologer, climate witness. I've been saying over the last few years that I've been spoiled by always being healthy, which is wonderful. Now getting old, I'm finding out about all this. I'm sorry. But you know what? You were really lucky that you did not have these things. I mean, you lived a fuller life. Although I've always tried to live a full life, you lived a fuller life. Wow, that's great. Now, Looney Tunes. Oh shit, I lost it. He had made a comment about when does it end? It ends when you die. I mean, basically, we all born and we're all going to die. Everybody's going to die. It's just how you spend your time in between birth and death, making right choices, not hurting people, love the one you're with, except don't get an STD. Yeah. Okay. John. Hello, John Animation. We are working on clean air from the grassroots, from the ground up. Yes. Regenerative agriculture, planting trees, all of it beautiful. I am for everything that is natural. I love hearing stuff like that. And you had said, same here. It seems like you're going 90 miles an hour all the time. Yeah, I was trying to watch one stupid thing last night, and I was really cognizant of the fact that I got up at least 10 times to put water in the cat's bowl or to whatever. And I knew I was doing it. And I was thinking to myself about that because I kind of knew I was going to change the show yesterday to do this. And I was thinking to myself, well, am I running away from pain? Is that why I'm getting up all the time? Am I just crazy? I mean, I've been really trying to think about this. It's nothing. I've never really sat down and thought about the fact that a lot of times I cannot just sit because I think of something that has to get done. Although, hi, Vector. Oh, let's see. Here you are. I mean, the guy who invented Botox committed suicide because he got so old he didn't like the look anymore. What? Is that true? You got to send me a link to that story. Seriously. People use Botox, so for migraine headaches, it does something. It freezes something. I don't know. What would I look like with Botox? I wouldn't have the expressive, I'm expressive, and that's what I was telling you before. I wasn't making fun of this woman. I'm not going to tell you her name, but goddamn, like I said, she can't put her eyebrows together, and it looked like you could literally, she laid out like this, you could fry an egg on her forehead. Oh my God, that's so mean. You can't sit like you used to. You're antsy. You do the same thing. Yeah, and reading too, I know. Focus. Maybe that's what it is my focus. I don't know. I also think about, as we get older, we think about, oh boy, we see everybody saying, oh, goddamn, Donald Trump has dementia and all that. But you think about that too. A video, I don't know why, comes into my YouTube, and it's this woman sitting there. She has dementia. The daughter's talking to her, and the woman looked really nice, but she completely didn't know who her daughter was. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want that. And I was talking about that with my friend Debbie yesterday. I don't want that. I don't want to live in a place. I don't want any of that shit. I don't want to be artificially kept alive. And if I have dementia and I don't know who my daughter is, I told her, just figure out how I can, whatever, not be around. And people are doing they can legally do that when they have terminal illnesses in certain places, which I do not think is a bad thing. I think it's humane. If animals, it's the best thing to put an animal to sleep. Well, why can't we? Only if we make the decision ourselves. This is not a decision I'm saying, oh, your family member is going to make a decision to put you to sleep. So don't think that, because that's where people get all kinds of screwed up with assisted end of life stuff. They right away think somebody else is going to make the decision. Now, there are families that make decisions. When you're at the end of the road, their families make decisions about how much morphine for pain reduction when somebody's at their end of their life. But if this is handled right, and I'm glad I'm talking about this because I don't think a lot of people really do in one place. I mean, I've circled the world, the environment, the toxins, old age, plastic surgery, fake tits, all of it. I've done it all tonight. But seriously, oh God. Yeah, but that's somebody else having to do that. That's the problem. And that is not, I mean, the humane way is what I saw in a YouTube video. I don't know why these things are popping up, but they are. And this young, beautiful young girl had a terminal illness, and she had made this choice and to do this and not go through. She told her parents, and she said, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, it was very sad, but it was humane. It was very humane. It was okay. Why didn't you? The dermatologist, Dr. Friedrich Brandt, known as the Baron of Botox, died by suicide at 65 in 2015. Well, I guess I didn't watch Entertainment Tonight back then. No. I know you're a doctor. Well, so he would know these things. He would definitely know these things. Yes, we do have to talk about these things. And I think it's very, very, important, especially lately, since like I said, I went through the whole thing of realizing I've crossed the Rubicon with joint pain and bone pain. I mean, it's bad to the point where I'm going to go for this intense Lyme test to make sure it's not Sjogren's, because I had a tick bite last year and I took the antibiotics. Maybe I didn't take it long enough. I don't know. I hope it's not Lyme, but I've got to rule out. I got to figure it out. So that's why too, having those taken out, there's an immune response I could be avoiding, all kinds of things, because I am here and I want to slide into old age as good as I can. I really do. I mean, I'm not lying. I know what the demographic is on this channel. Shit. Us old farts have to have people to talk to and be together with, right? I mean, really, seriously. And that's I don't remember her name. The YouTuber in Canada. Oh, there's some great older people that are out there talking and they relate. So we need to stay relatable. And sometimes dropping some kernels of truth about your life or what's happening can just get somebody else to go, holy shit, that's exactly what I went through or my sister went through. Because there's not going to be too many men in the audience that are going to say they had their fake tits removed, okay? But if I can have commonality and make people feel less alone. I mean, I never feel alone and I'm alone. I do the shows. I know everybody's out there. Like I said, I visualize you all sitting where you're sitting in your home, your living room, wherever you are. I can see you all in my mind's eye. It's pretty cool. That's it. She's in Canada. Yeah, she's a hoot. Yes, and she's doing very well. People like her. Yeah. I know that worries me. But you started out healthy and you're so beautiful. Karen is a beautiful, healthy person. So you're with us because you're with us and hopefully nothing is affecting you. Yeah. Hi, Oliver. Ticks are quite particular about some peeps. Think they like weed in the blood. Really. Hey, we need to do an environmental coffee house flush of the day. I know there's people watching on X. Let me see if I can pull it up. I don't know if they have the ability to comment. I've never actually looked. Do people out there on X comment when they're watching? I've never. That would be kind of cool. Let me see. Anybody want to have a comment? That would be great. Or come over to the YouTube. And be part of us. Environmental coffee house, environmental everything, because the umbrella is a big one. It is a big one. You caught a tick crawling on your wrist this summer. It was just starting to bite and I had to flick it like no tomorrow. Ah, they're horrible. And they're all over and there's all kinds of new ones. Yep. I think when I had the tick bite, I even made a video. I got a tick bite. I think it was called "What Haven't I Made a Video About" in all these years. Okay, I got the flush queued up. All right, guys, what are we going to flush? Well, Vector, you were booted from Twitter a couple of years ago before the Nazi bought it. I know we have a love hate affair with X, right? It's a love hate affair. That's another. I think for Spoonies, gotta be careful. We all have to be careful that we don't go down these rabbit holes that make us sick, where we get into these unwinnable arguments or people insult you or make you feel terrible because of what you might have posted or thought. Hey, I even had somebody argue with me on Blue Sky, this real centrist Democrat type. And all I said was the Democrats really need to get their shit together a little bit more because I mean, okay, I'll veer off for 2 seconds. That vote against socialism was so stupid. What a waste of time. First of all, this is a capitalist country. It's not like we're changing to a, full out socialist country tomorrow. It's never going to happen. We just have socialized programs. God damn, I mean, that was a stupid vote. I have no idea why they did it. All right, so that was what this person argued with me about. He said, you can't criticize, evidently you can't criticize the Democrats if you're a lefty. I don't know. It just kind of upset me. You're right. It's really stupid. And I'm not going to. He argued with me. That was the problem. So when I know it's toxic, I have to get off. Because again, I'm a Spoonie, man. I'm a Spoonie. I have to get the fuck off of toxicity. Yeah, really. Okay, flush the commercial fashion and makeup industry. I will because I fell for it. Even though I have to say I kind of really walked around like that, I say there was a few years there that whatever. I'm only being honest. I am a human. Okay, we're flushing the cosmetic and you have to look perfect all the time industry. Goodbye. Flush yourself. Gone. All right. That, Kate, you know what? That was a really good flush, actually. That was. And yeah. Yes. Otto is right, but that's been going on. That's sort of what I'm going to talk about. Where's that comment? Here it is. Stop making women into fetish objects. Man, okay. That's been going on since women were women. But when I do the show, I hope I finish this article I'm writing. That's another problem, writing and sitting. Where am I writing? Getting time. But I am, and it's actually working. This article, it's on the Epstein situation, but it's not the way everybody else is talking about it. It's, we're going to get a history lesson interspersed with my own worldview and experiences that other women my age may or may not have gone through. But suffice it to say, we're going to talk about the sexual revolution. Yeah. Kate, I see you had one. When I was 16, my peers convinced me that I should go to modeling classes with them, but I had to purchase a big suitcase of makeup. I told my mother, there's no way I'll go to modeling. Well, you were smart. You knew what you wanted and what you didn't want at 16. You didn't want to do that. But then there's, and I'm glad you didn't. You were smart enough. She used to ride a Harley just like me. Kate's my Harley sister. Yeah. Really. Right on. I can't anymore. All right, what else do we have? Oh, I got to play. I don't know if I should do this. How long have we been? Well, okay. I had a really gross funny. I'm thinking about health, right? And I come across this is trending RFK. I don't know if I should do it. All right, hang on. Let me see. Okay. He this is him, and this is some I learned who she was, some news reporter. And somebody got the text, and it was like really disgusting. I'm not keeping it up. I'm not reading it, but it was meant to say, ew, he's gross. And when you think, and you're a chronically ill person, and you think that he is the head of Health and Human Services and the Center for Disease Control, that makes you have, I think that minus is about 5 spoons right off the bat. I do. I really do. I think it minus the spoons right off the bat. It's scary. I would really have rather seen a very competent physician, MD, someone with a medical degree, and that had maybe worked in administration into this job. Honest to God, an amazing researcher or someone, not him. And listen, you can look up what he said. He texted this reporter some really graphic cunnilingus and fellatio type of shit. And I'm not reading it because it was really disturbing, like brainworm disturbing. And it's unbelievable that Cheryl Hines married him. I used to watch her on that show, Larry David. Oh, God. But then you learn they're not what you think they are. They're certainly not the character they are on television, right? Mm-mm. All right, we've been an hour and a half, and I think that's really good. If we got rid of the cosmetic industry, professional sports, and a few others, we could drop CO2 drastically. I hate to sound like Sam, but it ain't going to happen. But in every industry, you can purchase products that are less toxic and use less packaging. I mean, it's out there. You just have to search for it, and you have to try to afford it. Listen, it's the Western countries. I doubt that when you're in 125 Fahrenheit degrees in a city in Pakistan or India, you're worried about your mascara. So we really could. And yeah, get rid of big oil. I wish we could. I just don't know when that's going to happen. COP was a big disappointment. Yeah. Oh, I know it won't. But it is one drastic thing. It could work. It could work a lot of things. Wouldn't that be something? All right. So what did they use 2,000 years ago? Like Cleopatra? They used natural stuff. They made powder. They would dry. I know the women, they're from fruit, like fruit. You could dry on rocks, fruit, powder, colors, and adorn yourself. There's whole things about that. Women have been doing this forever. It's just the degree of doing it, the kind of life you had. If you're out there and you're living in the rural West, I'm sure the women that were homesteaders were not worried, again, about their blush and their mascara. They were worried about where they were going to go to the bathroom, off the horse and buggy. We're not going to make a significant dent in CO2 until we quit. Yeah, and then it's 20 years after that. So, but it would just be nice to quit so that we could breathe. It would be nice not to burn stuff. And I am the biggest hypocrite because I have a wood stove sitting there right in my living room. So, and the kids came today. They're not kids. They are men, but I call them kids because they're like my kids. And they came and loaded all the firewood up on the side deck. So all I have to do is bring it in with my flexible flyer. So I'm good. I'm good to go. Spray clay powder with alcohol until it compresses into a compact. Yep. Oh, there's all kinds of things. Now this is the worst. It is. Palm oil is a main ingredient in makeup. Anyone know how much pristine rainforest was slashed and burned to grow palm oil? Oh, yes. We know. We're very well aware because it is the worst. I don't buy anything. None of my products has palm oil. And that is a big no-no because it's a monoculture. It's terrible. You're right. You're right, Ryan. And look, Ryan still has the alternative, the bootleg when the channel was gone. The bootleg. Oh man, we live wild, right? We take a walk on the wild side. um, yep, you're right. And they still want to do it. Brazil, the rainforest we saw. And the indigenous people in Brazil are up in arms. It all should belong to them. The people that lived there. Okay. Yeah, hundreds of hectares. Yep. Yeah. And what are you saying? Otto says the best oil for eczema is Aquaphor. Okay. And that's not made with a fossil fuel base or anything like that. That's good. All right, listen. An hour and a half. I have to have a limit. We could do. I'll tell you what. I'll start playing the goodbye music. Yeah, and maybe. Oh, you have an electric chainsaw? Cool. Now I need not a chainsaw. I don't want a big chainsaw. I need an electric to cut branches. I mean, I still do this stuff. I have to. I just don't lift things. Okay. Oh, Looney, you're such a sweetheart. Wait. All right. Before leaving, hit like, share, subscribe, and become a member. And we have the Buy Me a Coffee also. I mean, I'm not the biggest at marketing. It's hard. But yeah, we have all that. And I probably should do more membership things. And I'm trying to figure out a way that I can do members only videos here and give the members that Buy Me a Coffee the link. It's just not a private, whatever it is, just a link to the members only. Why not? Then I could really talk about shit that I want. All right, guys. It has been. I feel good about this show. I feel good about the last couple of shows, really. I do. I think I'm on a roll. Maybe I won't put off shows, I push myself. It's good for me. It's good for me. All right, guys. Good night. See you on Tuesday with Dr. Emily Shorning from American Resiliency. Come with your questions about your state, about adaptation, mitigation, climate trends, the best places to work and live, and all of those things. So we'll see you then.